Welcome back to the show, everybody. It's DinaKalmeta here. And for today's show, we will have an extended broadcast on my Rumble channel because there are certain topics. For those of you that are new to the channel, welcome, by the way. Glad that you're here. But there are certain topics that I just can't talk about on YouTube due to all the censorship. So you're going to see an extended broadcast on Rumble. And I'll go ahead and leave a link for you guys, and you can see it there on the screen. Come on over there and subscribe. With that said, let's get into the headlines. Hamas is leaning towards accepting a hostage deal. Sources told Turkish media that no final decision has yet been made on the matter. They also said that Hamas is conducting a round of consultations with other organizations, and according to the report, discussions are underway on technical details and arrangements. Here's an update for you from All Israel News. Syria apparently is said not to demand the Golan Heights in peace talks. So this is a new development because, as I just reported yesterday, they were wanting the Golan Heights in that deal. But apparently on Monday, a senior Israeli official confirmed to the Times of Israel that there are advanced talks on bilateral agreement halting hostilities between the former arch-enemies. The official said that for now, the talks focus on security issues and cautioned against enthusiasm. Among several recent reports causing surging optimism for a deal, the Lebanese LBCI channel reported that Syria could drop the demand for the return of the Golan Heights. Israel's foreign ministry reiterated that the Golan Heights will remain an inseparable part of the state of Israel under any future agreement. Now, the Times of Israel is reporting that Syrian state media reported on Wednesday that statements on signing a peace deal with Israel were premature, just days after Israel said it was interested in striking a normalization agreement with Damascus. The state TV reported an unidentified official source saying that statements concerning signing a peace deal with the Israeli occupation at this time are considered premature. It is not possible to talk of the possibility of negotiations over a new agreement unless the occupation fully adheres to the 1974 disengagement agreement and withdrawals from the areas it has penetrated. So, very interesting. Now we're getting two conflicting reports. One being that they may not include the Golan Heights in the peace agreement. And here we have another report as of today at about 4:18 a.m. that they want the Golan Heights included. So I guess we're just going to have to see what happens here because these are definitely conflicting reports that we're getting, you guys. All Israel News has reported that President Herzog is seeking a compromise to end Netanyahu's corruption trial. The report goes on to read that Herzog is reportedly hoping to reach a compromise agreement that will be acceptable to the parties involved, while bringing an end to the Netanyahu corruption trial, which has been ongoing for about 6 years. Now, Barak has reiterated his opposition to any pardon that does not involve the prime minister retiring from politics. He also recently published an opinion article titled "Pardon for Netanyahu, only on condition that he retires from political life." Now, President Herzog has the authority to pardon Netanyahu, but he has shown no willingness to do so, and no formal request has been submitted. His meeting with Barak comes amid former U.S. President Donald Trump's recent call to end Netanyahu's trial, dismissing it as a witch hunt. On Sunday morning, the president posted a message on his Truth Social and issuing the call to let Bibi go. The following day, the White House press secretary clarified that Trump was expressing frustration with the trial, saying that Netanyahu's ability to make critical decisions is compromised when he's in the middle of negotiating a peace deal and bringing hostages out of a war-torn region. She also explained that Trump was simply emphasizing his empathy that he has for Bibi Netanyahu, seeing him go through what he's going through with his own judicial system in the state of Israel. Now, here is a very interesting article from Reclaim the Net. It's being reported that the U.S. Department of Justice is stepping into a legal battle that challenges the powerful alliance between major media outlets and tech corporations accused of stifling independent journalism. The case, brought by Children's Health Defense, or CHD, and a collection of independent publishers and reporters, targets the TNI, or the Trusted News Initiative, an international consortium that includes the likes of the BBC, Reuters, the Associated Press, and the Washington Post. Central to the lawsuit is a charge that TNI and its tech partners unlawfully coordinated efforts to silence smaller media competitors by branding their work as misinformation or disinformation and throttling their reach online. The plaintiffs contend that this alleged scheme violates the Sherman Antitrust Act by effectively shutting independent voices out of the marketplace of ideas. The lawsuit, originally filed in 2023, has seen little movement until recently. The DOJ last week filed a formal notice in federal court indicating that it will submit a statement of interest by mid-July. The agency cited the case's focus on anti-competitive collusion among competitors over product features as a matter of federal concern. The plaintiffs represent a broad swathe of independent media and public figures, including Creative Destruction Media, Trial Site News, The Gateway Pundits, Health Nut News, Dr. Joseph Mercola, journalist Ben Swan, and Ty and Charlene Bollinger. They argue that through shadow bans, removals, and other forms of suppression, tech firms aligned with TNI deliberately crippling their ability to operate and reach audiences. The TNI brands itself as a coalition working to counter harmful disinformation. Among its participants are not only legacy media institutions, but also tech giants like Google, Meta, and Microsoft. The plaintiffs argue, however, that behind this mission lies a coordinated strategy to crush economic competition. So this is kind of good news, you guys. At least the DOJ is getting involved in investigating this, because we have seen, and I know I have seen, an unbelievable amount of censorship. It's been a little bit better in the last couple of months, but as far as this channel goes, we are nowhere where we used to be in 2019 or 2020. And there are various reasons for that, but number one is the censorship. So I am glad that the DOJ is getting involved in this, and hopefully they'll be able to do something about it. Now, Prophecy Recon's reporting that the Senate version of H.R. 1, dubbed the One Big Beautiful Bill, marks a dramatic expansion of biometric surveillance infrastructure under what would be a second Trump administration. According to the Biometric Update, a new site focused on digital and biometric technology, the 940-page bill goes far beyond budget allocations. It charts an aggressive trajectory towards a nationwide biometric surveillance state, blending AI technology, immigration enforcement, and facial recognition tools into a powerful federal apparatus. The bill allocates over $175 billion in immigration-related funding for 2025 alone. Nearly $30 billion is embarked for ICE operations, including $2.5 billion specifically for AI systems, facial recognition, and digital case tracking, an unprecedented investment in surveillance technology. While promoted as an immigration enforcement measure, critics warn that the bill's scope extends far beyond the border. DHS officials indicate plans to integrate mobile biometric tools and AI-driven risk scoring into routine enforcement. While facial recognition systems and surveillance towers are already appearing across American cities. In Georgia, for example, roadside cameras and surveillance towers are rising as trees along highways are removed, seemingly to provide clearer visibility for monitoring vehicles and pedestrians. This isn't just for tracking certain individuals that are in our country, it is about tracking everyone. Even more troubling is a provision imposing a 10-year state-level biometric privacy laws, essentially coercing states to surrender civil liberties in exchange for federal funding. With minimal oversight, critics argue that the bill sets the stage for a fully integrated AI-driven surveillance grid, placing America on the brink of an Orwellian future disguised as national security. And according to Fox News, as well as other sources, the bill was just passed. Now, there are some good things about the bill. And you know what, you guys, there's going to be good and bad in every situation. But I just thought to bring you this report. Prophecy Recon is also reporting that Peter Thiel, co-founder of Palantir, recently sat down with the New York Times to discuss various topics, including life extension, the antichrist, and transhumanism. The conversation turned to transhumanism when the New York Times asked Peter Thiel if humanity should survive. Thiel responded affirmatively, but emphasized his desire for a radical transformation, suggesting that the ultimate goal was not just survival, but the complete transformation of the human body into an immortal form. He argued that transhumanism involves more than just changing the body's sex organs or engaging in other changes. It's about radically altering the mind, heart, and the entire body. During the interview, he also shared his thoughts on the antichrist, stating that the way the antichrist would take over the world is by focusing on essential risks and the looming threat of Armageddon, using it as a tool to push for regulation and control. This vision of the future highlights his belief in the power of radical change and his views on both transhumanism and the end times. So let's go back to Reclaim the Net, which is reporting that Europe's disinformation enforcers are pressuring platforms to tighten speech controls. A recent assessment by the European Digital Media Observatory has cast doubt on the effectiveness on big tech's efforts to combat so-called disinformation under the European Union's Code of Practice. The report, however, highlights a troubling trend: growing pressure on platforms like Google, Meta, Microsoft, and TikTok to police speech in ways that risk undermining open discourse. Since signing the voluntary code in 2018, these companies have faced increasing demands to regulate content, including avoiding ad placements near alleged disinformation, labeling content deemed misleading, and sharing platform data with researchers. These voluntary measures are set to become enforceable through the EU's Digital Services Act, which began on July 1st, raising further concerns about the future of free expression online. Why do they keep trying to censor us, you guys? Anyway, it goes on to report that such calls for tighter restrictions are inevitably edging towards censorship, threatening the diversity of views that the internet was meant to protect. The report criticized the companies for not providing sufficient evidence of their efforts despite their public promises. While Meta and Google were noted for launching certain initiatives, the EDMO dismissed many as superficial or symbolic. The report lamented the absence of user engagement figures, no reported outcomes, and no indication of the actual scale of those efforts, suggesting that big tech's reluctance to flood users with heavy-handed intervention is somehow a failing rather than a safeguard of free speech. Now, over in Switzerland, a biometric Swiss identity card is expected to be available by the end of 2026. The Federal Office of Police stated that the chip with biometric data should protect the identity card even better against misuse, such as counterfeiting. Furthermore, only countries that have equivalent data protection regulations to Switzerland would be authorized to access the fingerprints. So, very interesting, you guys. I believe, or I think it's possible, that a chip, either on the right hand or on the forehead, could be inserted into people in order to buy or sell. And I think that that chip will accompany a tattoo. Because we're told in the book of Revelation chapter 13 that in order to buy or sell anything during the tribulation period, and also in worship to the Antichrist per se, you're going to need a mark on your right hand or on your forehead. So this is just one step closer to the body in preparation for those times. So whether it's a tattoo or a tattoo and a chip is still up for debate. Now, in other news, what is this business about President Trump looking to deport Elon Musk? U.S. President Trump said on Tuesday he could consider deporting Elon Musk after the South African-born billionaire slammed his flagship spending bill. Trump also said that the Department of Government Efficiency, which Musk headed before stepping down late May train its sights on the Tesla and SpaceX founders' government subsidies. Trump told reporters at the White House, "I don't know. We'll have to take a look. We might have to put Doge on Elon." You know what Doge is. Doge is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Trump doubled down on the threat when he said he believed Musk was attacking his one big beautiful bill because he was annoyed that it had dropped measures to support electric vehicles. Trump made similar comments on his Truth Social network late Monday, saying that without subsidies, Elon would probably have to close up shop and head back home to South Africa. So, very interesting, you guys. I didn't report on the fight that they had, what was it, like a month ago? Because it seemed like they made up so quickly. But now, Elon is still making comments about Trump's bill, and the president is looking to deport him. So, I have two thoughts. One, we know how the president loves to mess with the media, and he's also very secretive. Could something be happening that has yet to be revealed, and this is a distraction? Or number two, he really does want to deport Elon Musk. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Now, the Daily Star is reporting that a cult leader who claims to be the reincarnation of Jesus has been jailed for mentally and physically abusing his followers. Sergey Torup, 64, lost his job as a traffic officer and founded the Church of the Last Testament in 1991 after experiencing a divine revelation. Thousands of followers fell under the spiritual leader's spell and lived in remote settlements across Siberia, including a core group of 300 at an isolated mountaintop called the Abode of Dawn. On Monday, Russia's Prosecutor General's office accused Torup and 2 associates were found guilty of creating a religious organization that violated the civil rights of its members and caused bodily harm. The actions of Siberia's Jesus were said to have caused 16 people moral harm and left 6 with serious health problems and 1 with moderate harm. So this right here, you guys, is without a doubt a false prophet. And what did Jesus tell us in Matthew 7:15? Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Jesus said in the book of Matthew chapter 24, verses 23 and 24, then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. So obviously this man didn't do any great signs and wonders, but he's calling himself Jesus. And there is only one Jesus. And he sits at the right hand of the Father, and he's coming to take us home very soon. So obviously this guy is a false prophet. The Gateway pundits reporting that the Department of Justice on Monday unveiled a record-shattering crackdown on the corrupt underbelly of America's healthcare system. A raw-dropping 324 defendants, including 96 medical professionals, have been charged in 50 federal districts and 12 states for orchestrating over $14.6 billion in intended fraud, largely targeting Medicare, Medicaid, and federal health programs meant to serve the elderly, disabled, and the poor. The takedown, spearheaded by the DOJ's Healthcare Fraud Unit in coordination with other agencies and over a dozen state attorney general offices, marks the largest healthcare fraud bust in U.S. history. In the meantime, Fox News is reporting that 2 Chinese nationals face serious charges after they allegedly acted as agents of the People's Republic of China's government to collect intelligence about U.S. Navy service members and bases, while also recruiting other military members to carry out tasks for the country's main foreign intelligence service. The DOJ said that the Chinese nationals, one which resides in Happy Valley, Oregon, you guys, that's my neighborhood, who traveled to Houston on a tourist visa in April 2025, were arrested just last Friday. Both individuals face charges of overseeing and carrying out various intelligence tasks in the U.S. on behalf of the Ministry of State Security, along with assisting with the recruitment of potential MSS assets and gathering intel about service members and bases. The 2 men are accused of facilitating a dead drop payment of cash on behalf of the MSS. FBI Director Kash Patel stated that the arrests reflect the FBI's unwavering commitment to protecting our national security and safeguarding the integrity of our military. The individuals charged were acting on behalf of a hostile foreign intelligence service, part of the Chinese Communist Party's broader effort to infiltrate and undermine our institutions. So that's kind of creepy, you guys, that these individuals were in the same neighborhood. I might have even seen them at the grocery store without even realizing it. And you know what? My neighborhood is pretty quiet. It's a quaint little neighborhood, so it would be considered the perfect place to hide out in. So good for our FBI. Those are your headlines for today. Please do leave your comments below this video. I'd love to hear from all of you. When you have a free moment, come and visit us on our social media pages as well as our website at www.cww7news.com. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. God bless, and until next time, stay safe.